Let me know whenever you're
I'm gonna
ready.
be like this
Please start like that.
the
That
whole
would actually
time.
be. Please leave by 9. I just like that. That's the focus now. All
Thank
right. Hi, guys.
you.
Welcome back to our podcast. We're starting off a super chill introduction. Sometimes you got to just sit down and you just got to talk about life a bit. Sometimes there's not always a crazy story. Sometimes you just got to talk about what's frustrating you currently.
Yeah. Um, so I figured we could gab about current events. Oh, sorry. Hey, everyone.
We're good
Um,
right now. It's an accident.
I just forgot. I was ready to just keep going like that. So I wanted to talk about, did you watch the interview with Meghan Markle?
Oh, yeah. Piers Morgan, that's stupid. Oh, yeah.
You actually watched it? Because I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been seeing everything on Twitter
On Twitter. I mean, I've seen clips of it,
about it.
yeah. I didn't watch the whole thing, no.
So, what'd you think about it?
I thought he was being a dick. But that's his thing, you know.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Oprah one.
Oh, I'm talking about Piers Morgan. Oh, I didn't watch the Oprah one. I watched Piers the interview where he is like dismissing her suicidal thoughts and like
Oh my God, I did not see that.
yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. I'm sorry. Yeah, he really came down on her hard for that Oprah interview, and it was so much backlash from it from even his own like co-anchors of the morning British show or whatever that he just walked off set, and now he's quitting the show.
Good.
Yeah, good. Honestly, good.
Asshole. It's hard for me to like, I don't know, part of me is just like, wah, like, you're just a bunch of rich people.
Right.
You
Wipe
know
their
what I
hair.
mean? But at the
Yeah.
same time, like, I mean, it's still messed up though that they were worried about the color
The
of
skin
her
color.
baby's skin. Her mom is an African American lady and beautiful
Uh huh.
lady. They're just a beautiful family.
Mm-hmm.
And the royal family is just like, oh, not on my watch,
Not in
you
my
know.
household. Yeah.
And the baby came out like pasty as hell anyway, but the fact that they said that, like, what?
I think I read something where this is why I think I got it messed up because I read a meme. It was like imagine getting like being racist about a baby that could barely pass for Italian. I think that's what they were
Yes.
saying.
God, I couldn't imagine being like a part of the royal family. I mean, obviously, I'm fucking poor, but just having to uphold that
All that
standard,
pressure. Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know. I couldn't do it. Poor
I
thing.
wouldn't.
Whatever.
No. It's so much pressure on like both ends because you have just this entire just history of the monarchy and for all of this drama to just be centered around their relationship where Harry doesn't even have any negative feelings about it at all. It's literally all coming from everybody else. That must suck because I mean people experience that in their lives that aren't royalty, where you bring a girlfriend or a boyfriend over or a partner and your whole family hates them for no reason or maybe a racist reason.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Just because they're rich, part of me again wants to be like, do you really need to complain? But also like, that's a struggle, not having your family like your partner for just a stupid reason like racism or just some random prejudice.
Geez, like it's so Riley and I are like the same thing basically, where it's like we're half white and half Mexican, but we're both like really white passing. So it's like the other like my white side of the family, they're
Right.
just like, "Oh yeah, wow, we love him."
Oh shit.
And
Oh
I
no.
know it's because like he looks white, you know,
Yeah.
but it just like I just hate it.
Oh, definitely.
I hate it so freaking much. When I was waiting
Uh
tables,
huh.
I went up to a table and they were just saying all these racial slurs against Mexicans and they were talking about how they're useless and like destroying
Jeez.
this country. Like in this bougie ass like natural restaurant, like it was all
The
like
yuppie
organic.
hippies. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I just I bit my tongue. I just kind of slammed their food onto the table. And I went in the bathroom and I just like screamed like into my cardigan. It was just
Right.
I was pissed. But
That's the thing.
like I'm white passing, so they just thought I was like just some white bitch
Just
coming
on
and
board. Yeah.
bringing in their asparagus. But
Yeah, that sucks when we get overlooked and then just slapped in the face with the prejudice because they think that we're part of their club, because we're lighter skin. Man,
that's
you
nasty.
remember you remember that teacher at Bernie High School that was like super he was super conservative and he was like really into Duck Dynasty.
Oh my god, yeah, but I don't remember his name.
Oh, I remember his name, but I just don't know if I should say it or not. But
Oh, say it. Say it. Who cares?
oh, it's funny. Mr. Horseman. Do you remember? It's Mr. Horseman.
Oh, I never had him,
I
but
didn't. I didn't have him either, but
everyone.
everyone knew about him. How super conservative he was, which inherently isn't a problem, except that he was actually pretty racist, especially with this economics. And like anybody in his class, if they disagreed with him, they basically got a worse grade. If they were any
Oh my
like
god.
progressive at all. But he went to a family event of my ex's, and that was really weird seeing him at first because my ex, his family was crazy,
Yeah.
crazy conservative, and then you see him, and I was like, oh, this makes sense. This makes sense that these are his friends. You know what I mean?
No.
And he brought, I kid you not, he brought Duck Dynasty wine to the event. Duck Dynasty brand wine. I'm not
That
kidding.
is bonkers.
Isn't that
Oh my
crazy?
god. I'm trying to I hate that. I mean, like, I didn't even know they had a wine, but they would,
I
huh?
know, right? Well, that was back at the time of the controversy with the show. And he
Yes.
like he came to school the next day with like a Duck Dynasty beard on and some like solidarity, and I was like, for homophobia, you don't want to be solidarity with that, but whatever.
Dude, it's like, and also it's like, you're at a high school surrounded by a bunch of kids. Like, no one gives a shit about your opinion here.
No,
Like, leave
nobody
that at
does.
home.
Literally, like if you're gonna teach, just teach it, and don't try to just like political agenda, which is funny that conservatives always accuse like left agendas of doing that, even though most of the time it's the other way around. I received nothing but like conservative propaganda in my history classes at Bernie High School.
Oh my God, do you remember um a certain someone that
Probably.
went around spewing homophobic nonsense and
Do
in
you
the
mean
middle of class
when they
she's
said
Kate
you can say it, you can say
when she said when KP
it.
said yeah, well, if gays can get married, what's to stop people from marrying their dogs?
Oh, I remember. I was not in that class, but I heard about that like immediately through theater. I will never
Oh,
forget
she
that.
goes around she would say that and then
Mhm.
she would come up to like me and I would sit with all the gays at lunch
I know, and we
and
would
then
all
she
just
would
be there.
and she would come up and just be like, yeah, my brother, like my whole family hates the gays and we're just trying to eat
I
lunch.
know, we're just like, can you go away?
It's like no one else will accept you, but you're over here like
Trying to preaching to
whatever.
the people that you are condemning. It's so stupid. Do you
Jesus.
literally, literally Jesus, Allison?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Wait, did I do it wrong? No, it's here.
yes,
I'm
it's
like
left to right.
I haven't I haven't been Catholic in so long. I don't.
Are you a recovering Catholic? I believe that's what it's called. That's not where it goes. Oh man. Well, glad we could get just relive some of those awesome memories of living in a very forward-thinking, progressive community. I love it. Seeing Mildred fly across the screen.
Oh,
She says, "I
she's so
fly too fast."
happy. Look how happy she is.
She's so sweet. Oh,
She's
now I
very
just want
mad.
Edward in.
Go on.
She says, "Mama, leave me alone. Leave me alone." Okay. So today, friends, we're going to be talking about a pretty well-known serial killer. He's inspired a lot of popular culture. If you have seen the movie Psycho, if you have seen Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, so Riley bought Psycho for us to
Oh,
watch because
really?
we had finished watching Bates Motel,
uh,
but then I think we both lost our job to COVID, or he lost his job, or whatever, and we
right.
had to pawn it. We had to go sell
Mm,
it at like the record
no. Dang.
store. So I will see it sometime, but I have seen Bates Motel. So
Yeah. So you know some of maybe what we're going to be talking about, some
maybe.
idea. um so his full name, the serial killer we're going to be discussing, is Edward Theodore Gein, I think is the way to pronounce it. Gein. He was born
It's
on
not Geen?
Gein? Is it Gein? Gain? Gein?
Yeah,
Gein?
Geen.
Gein. I'm going to say, okay, Gein. He was born August 27th, 1906. He had a couple of different names for him. He was known as the Butcher of Plainfield or the Plainfield Ghoul because all of the crimes were committed in his hometown of Plainfield, Wisconsin. So another Wisconsin thing. I remember we talked about something in Wisconsin on like the first episode. Some crazy stuff is happening there. Um,
Yeah.
he's one of the few people that I know that is classified as not only a murderer but a body snatcher. Um,
You.
yeah, so I think of the Body Snatchers, that movie or whatever. I've never seen it, but that's like the first thing that comes to mind. But it doesn't mean this. So in his home life, Gain he had an older brother, Henry. Um, his father was an alcoholic who couldn't really keep down a job, and his mother, Augusta, really resented him for that. Um, the alcoholism got so bad that George had to sell the family business and they moved to a farm to be self sufficient. Unfortunately, Augusta, she's. I want to say that she was very mentally disturbed. I don't really. There's not a lot of information on her as to why that would be, but she used the farm to isolate Henry and Edward from like the rest of the world. She became like their main influence. She would punish them when they tried to make friends. They were only allowed to leave the house for school. She was always preaching to them. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I'm already seeing the parallels to the show.
Yeah.
Instead of a instead of a hotel, though, it's a farm.
Yeah, yeah. Like, well, because
Okay.
it. Yeah, yeah. I'll explain. So, yeah, she was also very religious, very Lutheran. And she was always preaching to the boys about the evils of drinking, of women, all women, except for her, of course.
So
Um,
true.
the devil. She would mainly read from the Book of Revelations to them, and she was always talking about death and murder and divine retribution. So,
Ew.
yeah, I have no idea why this kid came out crazy. you know, like what? it, it just pains me to think about like what could have happened if that the parents just weren't that way, and I feel like that's how it is with so many of the shows. I feel
Yeah.
like we're always saying that. We're just like you can see it now where this all came from, where it all centered from. Ed, he was very shy. Um, he wasn't allowed to make friends. Like I said, he was punished for it. But despite all of that, he did pretty well in school. In 1940, George's alcoholism caused some pretty severe heart failure, and he passed away. Henry and Ed, needing to take care of their mother and the farm, got a bunch of odd jobs to try and support the family. Ed really liked babysitting because he connected with the children much more than easily than he does with adults. I really think that his like super hindered social development um, really made it hard for him to have a mental age of higher than that. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um, he didn't. Not that this was any sort of like pedophilic attraction at all. He didn't do anything like that. It was purely that his mindset is so similar to that of a child because his social skills were never really developed. Um, Henry started dating a woman, which of course Augusta was not happy about because all women are evil except for her, according to her. um, and Henry wanted to move in together, with the woman. Of course, Augusta is against that because they're not married and everything. And back in the 40s and 50s, that was a huge kind of scandal. Not a big deal now. Um, Ed was very upset about that, and he got into a fight with his brother. And Henry was like, "Look, dude, you are too attached to mom. She is not nice to us. She is crazy, and you need to get away from her." And do you think Ed listened to him?
No, he was like, Mama.
Mama! Literally. That's exactly what happened. So, later that year, Henry dies in a fire. It was thought to be an accident at the time. After further investigation, they found that Henry was dead before the fire had started. He had died of asphyxiation.
Oh.
Uh-huh. A lot of researchers speculate that Henry was actually the first victim of Ed Gein. He had killed his brother first for
I
trying to
mean,
split him from his mom.
that makes sense.
Right? I mean,
Yeah,
they found him.
that's what I would do with my mom.
Just burn him.
No. I don't know. I just hate my mom, so I like to make jokes to where I'm like, love her.
Love her. She's the best. Deborah. But so now that Ed doesn't have anybody except his mother, the unhealthy relationship just keeps growing from that.
Oh, he also killed like his only friend
Yeah.
that happened to be his brother, basically.
Well, that's the thing is once Henry was vocal about not liking mom, Ed just cut all ties with him. It was almost like he immediately the loyalty he has to Augusta is just sickening to me, honestly.
Uh,
That's the problem is that the mama bond, and that's why a lot of people know that Freud was not entirely 100% right on everything, and a lot of his stuff was like racist and sexist. But I do think that the idea of a lot of serial killers reaching back to mistreatment from their mother, just because that initial maternal bond is really important, and when that gets distorted, it just tends to develop into things like this. I'm not saying everybody who has a messed up mom is a serial killer, because they're not, but this was left to fester for like 40 years, 40 to 50 years of that same toxic thing. And I don't know, it's just fascinating to me that parents have such an influence, so much of an influence, and I think a lot of people take it for granted when they have kids about how much they're going to influence their children.
yeah. Dang.
Well, at this time, her health was declining. Ed was taking care of her full time. She had a paralyzing stroke after Henry's death, so she had to be pushed around in a wheelchair. After another stroke, she died in 1945. Ed did not handle it well at all. There's an author that wrote about him. His name is Harold Schechter, and he wrote that Ed had lost his only friend and one true love, and now he was absolutely alone in the world. This is
Ew.
another. I know, this is another one where you just feel bad for them. Like, you're disgusted when you hear everything that's happened. You're going to get angry, but like, they have so much depth to what it really takes to push somebody to this. People think you just decide one day to kill people. You don't.
Well, you would think that now, sorry to be that guy, but
Be that guy.
now that old mom is dead, he could be like, hell yeah, time to make a friend.
Party, 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 party.
You
lord.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what is it called? Weekend at Bernie's. He's just dragging mom around. Like
Oh, we're
sunglasses.
doing okay. Speaking of that, totally derailing the conversation. In my
Heck yeah.
D&D campaign
Uh
right now, my the other players are trying to we're all trying to start an uprising in one of the farm villages against the lord
huh.
of the town, and one of like my co-players keeps saying, he's like, we're just gonna weekend at Bernie's the lord and we're gonna take him around town and make him give reparations for all the money and taxation.
Hell yeah.
Anyways,
That's a
dumb
political party I
story.
can get behind.
Yeah.
You just weekend at Bernie's your enemy. Exactly. That's great. Oh my god. All right. So after that, he was just alone in the house for a pretty long time. On the morning of November 16th, 1957, Plainfield Hardware store owner Bernice Warden was reported missing. A resident reported that her truck had been driven out of the back of the building around 9:30 that morning. The store didn't really get a lot of customers, so the people that went in were like regulars, and so they would know if something was off, something was wrong. So when they went in to investigate the store, they found that the cash register was open and there were bloodstains on the floor. Frank Warden told investigators that Ed had been in the store the night before his mom's disappearance and that he was going to come back for a gallon of antifreeze in the morning. They found a receipt for it, so that checked out. They also found that Ed had also gone to a grocery store later that day. So they thought, well, the only evidence we have, he was the last person in that store. He made moves afterwards, so he couldn't have been in two places at once. You know, he couldn't say, oh, I was actually at this store because the receipt has the time and everything, you know. They decided to use that evidence to search his farm. Before we continue, I want to give a trigger warning to
Oh
anybody listening. Like we always do, we're going to get into some gruesome details, and these are pretty intense. I know Jack the Ripper was intense, but this is kind of up there with it. So brace yourself. When they got onto the property, is that how you brace?
no. Yeah.
um, the sheriff's deputy discovered Warden's decapitated body in a shed on Ed's property. She was hung upside down by her legs with a crossbar at her ankles and ropes at her wrists. Her torso was dressed out like a deer.
Wait.
So
Oh. Wow.
yeah. She's hanging up like meat, like a cow or a deer. I've seen my
Holy.
dad kill plenty of clean plenty of deer. You know, they hang it up from a tree and they split it
Yeah.
open. That's what she was, with no head on top of that. She had been shot with a 22 caliber rifle, and all the mutilations were made after death. So I that doesn't make it any better at all. Although there is a difference between serial killers that do torture the victims because they're sadistic and they have that sadistic drive. Typically, when they kill them and then mutilate the body, it's they're not they don't want to hurt the person. They just want the dead body. They just want the death. You know what I mean? Um, Other serial killers, like if this happened when they were alive, like in Jack the Ripper, that's a totally different like type of viciousness. You know. After they found that, of course, they were like, "Holy shit, we need to search the house. We need to search the rest of the farm." All right. What they found in the house: whole human bones and fragments of bones, a trash can made of human skin. Human skin.
Wait.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a trash can made of human
Oh.
skin, like tanned like a
Just
hide.
go
Yeah.
get one. He went
Just
to
go
the
to the
hardware
store.
store before. Just get a freaking trash can.
He's like, they didn't have trash cans. I need a human. I need it.
Uh,
You know what I mean? um, human skin covering several chair seats, so like couch cushions and such. Skulls on his bedpost. You know how like they put like skulls on a pike, but that's just his bedpost.
yeah.
Just skulls.
Ew.
Um, he just had random female skulls with the top just sewn completely off. I assume to get to the brains. I don't know. I've never done this, so I don't know. he he had bowls made from human skulls. You know, they say to eat out of the skulls of your enemies, but I don't think this is what they meant.
So he would have like soup?
And cereal.
Would he? No.
Yeah, no, he was using them. He was using them as real dishes. I'm not kidding.
You would think they would be. I don't know. God, okay, this is ignorant.
Say it, say it, say it, say it.
Are they? Aren't they like kind of. Bones can be kind of porous, right?
Yeah,
No?
yeah, definitely.
So was he
How?
like my soup and it was like leaking?
He probably just put popcorn in it, honestly. It's probably a bowl for solids, now that I think about it, because I think you're right. Everything would come out the nose and eye holes. It would be a horrible bowl. Stupid idiot. Come on. This is the part where it starts to resemble Silence of the Lambs. You'll see where you start to get. Have you seen that movie, Allison?
Yes.
Yes. So this is where a lot of these next items will be like Buffalo Bill's inspiration. Ed had a corset made from a female torso, skinned from shoulder to waist. He had leggings made from human leg skin.
Oh, so sexy.
So smooth, so shiny.
Ew.
He had masks made from the skin of female heads. One of his victims, Mary Hogan, he had her face mask in a paper bag and her skull in a box. Bernice Warden's entire head was just wrapped up in a burlap sack, just like in the corner. Her
This guy, like, he's so organized yet so unorganized at the same time.
that was one of the things that the deputies actually talked about. They were like, how can someone be so mentally disturbed and yet so detail oriented, so like routine based? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
it's creepy. It's just terrifying.
I guess he was gonna like get to the other stuff later.
Yeah,
But
right. He also had Bernice Warden's heart in a plastic bag in front of the stove. So I don't know if he was gonna poach it, do a little sous vide, serve it up.
oh god.
This is where it gets tough. There's some tough things.
Oh, this is where it gets tough.
Yeah. He had. Ugh, I can't. This is so bad. He had.
Oh no.
Yeah, he had 9 vulvae in a shoebox.
Wait.
Yes.
Like-
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Why a shoebox?
He just snipped them and put them in a shoebox. I
What the hell?
don't know. He had also a young girl's dress and the vulvas of 2 females judged to have been about 15 years old.
Oh, I hate this fucker.
He had. We're not done. There's like 7 more things, dude.
Well, he should have like. I mean, yeah, women are great and all that, but like, come on, like,
Give it up.
snip a dick.
Yeah, I know. I snip a dick or 2. Come on. You know what I mean? He had a. This one just weirds me out. It's creepy, but it's just confusing. He had a belt made from female human nipples. Like, I don't know why it makes me laugh. It's horrifying and it's disgusting, and maybe that's why it's just so absurd that it makes me laugh. But I'm just like, that would look awful. That would look awful. A belt.
Yeah, just go to Hot Topic.
Just get the bullet belt like everybody else. the spike, the stud belt that everybody had in middle school. I had a
Yes.
blue and black one that like double wrapped. You know what I mean?
I
Those are
love
the
it.
days. Those are the days back when we wore studs and not nipples. Um, randomly, he just had four noses, just hanging around. Just four noses.
Got your nose. No, really.
He had a pair of lips on a window shade drawstring. So he would just raise this pair of lips like a
Ew.
flag. I'm sorry, this is horrific, but it's so absurd that the dark humor in me, I can't help it. I'm sorry to the viewers who think
Oh,
I'm a horrible person, but imagining somebody raise up a pair of lips, I can't. I can't think about it without laughing.
well, I just want to laugh
Because
because,
otherwise I would scream and cry in a corner.
yeah, and also, I don't know. I still think he's lazy with his decor.
Just
You
a
know what I
little.
mean?
Yeah, a couple skin
Yeah,
seats here.
whatever. I
uh,
hate him.
almost
Sounds
done.
atrocious.
He had a lampshade made from the skin of a human face. This was in,
Oh,
if you watch
good.
American Horror Story season 2. Uh,
Yes.
the main villain is also based off of Ed Gein, because you remember when he goes to her apartment,
Yes.
or she goes to his apartment, he's got all the skin stuff everywhere.
Yes,
Yep,
yes, I remember that.
that's where that came from. He also just had a collection of female fingernails, which, out of context, kind of seems like just a creepy incel thing. You know what I mean? And then you realize it's dead body fingernails, so you're like, okay, that's obviously way worse. But like keeping fingernails, I know some people do that. I've seen it on like some weird Reddit threads where they keep like lint from their belly button. I've seen people keep fingernails. I've seen people keep all of this nasty shit, and I don't understand it at all.
I'm not bringing up another thing from Reddit.
Do it, do it, do it, do it.
The the
But yes,
box
I know the
jar.
the My Little Pony. I know. That's what I mean. I'm just like, this is just a weird thing that people do. It's not necessarily related to the murder, but it's still just creepy and disgusting. I might have to put this at the end. I might have to censor that. But anyway, um, yeah, that was it. That was the long haul they got from his house.
Okay,
He
so I don't love cops, but I cannot imagine strolling up and seeing that shit. Like, I think that
oh
would have ruined my life.
dude, this is so funny you say that because um I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna get back to that. When
Okay.
when he was questioned, he told investigators that between 1947 and 1952, he made up to 40 evening visits to local graveyards to look at recently buried bodies, since the dirt would not be messed with. And he described being in a daze-like state. Um, on about 30 or so of the visits, he said he came out of the daze while he was in the cemetery and left and didn't do anything. He left empty-handed is what he said. But on the other times, he would dig up the graves, and if they slightly resembled his mother, he would take them home, tanned their skins, and made all of the things I just listed, all of the horrible
Wait,
things.
so did he ever dig up his mother though?
No, no.
No.
I think
So
he
he
was,
let
yeah.
her rest.
He
Wow.
respected her too much, I think, and was like, "This is a show of my love, mommy. I won't forget you,
Ugh.
mommy." You know. So he admitted to stealing from 9 graves from the local cemeteries. He showed them all of the locations. Um, in the caskets, there were some of them were empty. Some of them had random objects in it. To kind of, I don't know why he like replaced it. I don't know what he was kind of thinking in his mind, like an Indiana Jones thing, where you have to like replace the idol with like a sack. You don't have to. Anyway, he's obviously not of sound mind and body, so I can't really think about his logic process. You know what I mean? During his confession, he said that soon after his mom's death, he began to create a woman suit. Um, and these are his words, so that he could become his mother, to literally crawl into her skin.
Mm,
That just makes you upset inside. That just makes me upset inside. I don't like that.
I can't relate.
I can't, yeah, really. Hashtag can't relate. Sorry, not sorry. Can't relate, sweaty. That's in Buffalo Bill, Silence of the Lambs. That's it, where he makes like the woman suit. That's that connection with the popular culture. Um, Despite everything he did to the bodies, he did deny ever having sex with them. Any sort of necrophilia. He said they smelled too bad. He's got standards.
Oh,
Oh, they smell too bad for you. Oh.
well, I
um,
bet you didn't smell too great either.
Literally, you didn't smell either, sweaty. Um, he admitted to shooting Mary Hogan and killing her. Um, but afterwards, he denied memories of her death. So, like similar to Eileen Wuornos, where you can see where their mental state is kind of deteriorating throughout the confessions. He kind of started devolving as well. Because of all of this, investigators started to suspect him for some other cases, some other unsolved cases around Wisconsin. Because a lot of the MOs were similar. So he also got some other crimes from nearby places attached to him. So what you were saying about like the police officer being like traumatized, during the questioning period, the county sheriff Art Shaley, or is it Schley? Art Schley reportedly assaulted Ed Gein by banging his head and face into a brick wall during the confession. Um, this made his initial confession inadmissible. um, Schley later died of heart failure at age 43, right before Ed Gein's trial. And many who knew him,
Holy shit.
yeah, many who knew him said that he was so traumatized by the absolute horror of the crimes that it like scared him to death. One of his friends even said he was a victim of Ed Gein as surely as if he had butchered him.
Wow.
So you were like dead on. Like going into that, it just completely destroyed this man.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
happy at
that's funny
least
that
he
you
got
mentioned that.
to bang his head into the fucking wall before he
I
died.
know. It's like that's what I would have done. This is why I wouldn't be able to be a cop or anything like that. And people who have power issues should not be police officers. But if a guy is grave robbing, I think you could punch him into a brick wall. I think so. On November 21st, 1957, he was arraigned on one account of first-degree murder, where he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. He was later diagnosed with schizophrenia and found mentally incompetent, thus, he was unfit for trial. He was reevaluated, however, and while they determined he did show schizophrenic, they showed that he was mentally sound enough to participate in his defense. So he got out of it partially, but not really. At the request of his defense, the trial was held without a jury because the only murder that could be confirmed, because all of the various body parts, it's hard to assign crimes of murder on people who are already dead. So the only murder charge he had was the lady he shot with the rifle. All of the defamation of the other bodies, it couldn't be tried in the same way.
Was there laws about this yet at this point?
About grave robbing, I think so. I think that they
I don't know, I'm
had.
just dumb. I just like
I didn't
I
know.
don't know.
They probably did. I think. I just don't think that he was able to be. Um, I don't know if he was able to be tried for anything related to the dead bodies. I just know specifically he was tried and found guilty of the murder. He was only tried for that one murder, so I'm assuming that maybe there wasn't anything they could do. Maybe they didn't have the laws at the time. He died on July 26, 1984, at the age of 77 due to respiratory failure from lung cancer. He died in a mental health institute. Um, Ironically, souvenir seekers chipped pieces from his gravestone from the cemetery until the stone itself was stolen. So the grave robber got tombstone robbed.
Imagine like working in that facility where he lived for the rest of his life and like
Knowing.
having to bring him dinner and just knowing all the heinous shit that he did.
I do not have that much grace within me. I could not.
No.
I would spit in his food. I could not. I could not. I don't know why. And that's the thing is, all these horrific things he did were mainly to the dead bodies. So that one murder was the only thing they could pin on him. And yet, most of the atrocities were his complete just desecration of these dead bodies. You know.
Ugh.
So anyway, that is our wonderful story. If you were wondering where these popular cultures got their story from all of these different movies and TV shows you've probably seen, this is the horrific story. Do you
Yay.
feel better for knowing?
Yeah, thank you. Wow.
Oh, thank
No,
you.
no.
Yeah, this one is tough. This one, the I forgot. I mean, I remembered most of it, but after when you go through that grocery list of what they find in his house, it's hard every time. Every time it's hard.
Oh, God. I don't know. I just like, man, everyone hates women.
Whammon, I know. And it goes
Women.
back to the mom. That's what I'm saying. She was such a psycho, if you get my reference, but she was crazy. And that need for that female approval, for that female reassurance, it it manifests a lot of the time with serial killers this way, in a hatred for it. Because if I remember correctly from Bates Motel, or no, from yeah, Bates Motel, I think that's where he wears the mom's skin, right? I
He
think so.
didn't wear her skin in Bates Motel. In Bates Motel, he dug her up and like made her
Right. Like
into a
stuffed
shrine,
her.
and then he would
Yeah.
wear her clothes. But
Right.
I mean, pretty similar, I guess.
Yeah. So a lot of those, they just take certain parts of the story and they go with it because even fictionally, one person doing all of these things is probably too much. In real life, it's too much.
I couldn't imagine that coming on TV. Like, just the whole damn thing. So
A belt of
it
nipples, you
took
just see
bits and
lips
pieces.
hanging on a window. Like couldn't do it. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. We'll be coming back with more spooky stuff. I hope you guys have a good spooky time.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Man,
Deuces.
don't make nipple belts.